There's an article, I think it was one of the leaders of I think it's UNCTAD, I'm not sure, but she made allusions to the fact that it appears that graduation from an LDC to an LMIC is almost becoming something like a punishment to developing countries.
Yes.
So that the moment you graduate, you are told now the amount of concessional funding you can receive is way reduced, and you only have two options. You either raise the revenues locally, you go for syndicated loans, or you go for Eurobonds. And do you think when you look at, what you had said earlier, that African countries or countries in the developing world, it appears that even with the problem with the Eurobond in Kenya, it appears that almost 10 years after graduating from an LDC to an LMIC, there are people who are arguing in a much conspiratorial fashion that this is another trap laid for developing countries. Do you think it's a trap?
I really don't think it is a trap, because for you it's like when you are growing from being a baby to adolescence to now a mature person, and now you say adolescence is quite troublesome, and you don't want to go through that stage. You know what happened, and using the same approach or analogy about a human being, we when we are born, we are very dependent. Then at some point during adolescence, we become independent. We started being dependent, then independent. Then when you become mature, you become interdependent. That you are also given value. So when we were classified as developing countries, now there we were fully dependent. We were fully dependent on grants, on concessionary loans, and
you mean when we were classified as LDCs?
LDCs,
the lowest rung of development.
Yes. So we are like in this journey of development, we are at the baby stage, which is we are now when you are a baby, you are very dependent. You are dependent on your parents for upkeep, for food, clothing, everything. You're not able to sustain yourself. That's how the developing countries have been for the longest, or as long as you are a developing country, you are a baby. And who would want to remain being a baby for the rest of his life?
No one.
At some point, you must graduate to becoming now independent. And being independent is that you feel, and that's what some countries in Africa actually had started being, that we say now we are now independent, and we want now to practice what is called protection and protectionism policy. Protectionism policy is when you lock your borders, you say you are going to avoid the imports coming to your country, so that you can be able to jumpstart the local industry. Like in Kenya, we keep saying that we need to jumpstart the textile industry. We need to jumpstart Sony Sugar, the sugar industry, and all that. Even the manufacturing industry,
as well as protecting the infant industries.
The infant upcoming industries. That's when you are independent. You feel just like an adolescent person. They don't want to listen to their parents. They want to go out and not to be questioned. So it is now that stage of a country when you feel you are independent and you can live by yourself. Until now, those other developed countries, they retaliate. They say you are practicing a protectionism policy, that you don't want our goods and services to come to your country. Then, okay, even us, we will not also allow you, just in case you happen to start exporting, will not allow your goods to also come to our country. And of course, they are the big boys. They whenever they flex their muscle, as it is normally said, whenever US sneezes, the rest of us
of the world catches a cold.
A cold. So that part of being independent. But now when you develop and you graduate to interdependent, is when you realize that no country is an island, that we need each other. We now do economy liberalization. We open the borders, and we ensure that we are able to allow goods to come in and to come out. And by that can only happen if we allow something what is called comparative advantage, that we only do what we are good at. Something that we are not good at, we leave it to countries which are good at, so that we can focus on our area of expertise. And our area of expertise at the moment, I would say, it is agricultural production, because the Kenyan economy is highly agrarian one. So when I see us saying that we really need to start doing the housing project, whenever the agriculture sector is not fully funded, you would be very surprised that in the Kenyan context, like last year we read a budget of 3.6 trillion. Maybe you can give a guess how much was allocated to the agriculture sector. It was 80 billion.
80 billion.
80 billion. 80 billion only. And
to a sector that contributes about 22% of the GDP.
Yes, exactly.
There's a huge mismatch between the two.
Yes, and also maybe 20% of the GDP, but how many Kenyans are employed directly or indirectly by the agriculture sector? More than 80%.
More than 80%.
And you give them about 80 to 90 billion. That I think it's a misplaced priority. So the issue of that it is a trap as moving from LDC to a middle-income country, I don't feel so. It's again the same narrative that I was talking about. Africans, when you are winning, you say the examiners they are okay. When you are losing, they are not fair.
And anyway, because also the moment of graduation, you already know, like once you become an LMIC, these are the rules of the game.
These are the rules of the game.
Like you won't receive concessional funding in the same breath you used to receive earlier. The options will be you raise finances, you tackle corruption and wastage. Or you go for the syndicated loans and the Eurobonds. So anyway, at the start point of the graduation class, it's like somebody is giving you the power to read, and the entire thing is always said in graduations. So you already know, like 10 years from now, if I don't put my house in order, I'll probably end up in trouble. So I mean, you cannot claim in agency, or you cannot claim powerlessness, right?
That's for sure.